Peloton has now seen shrinking demand for its exercise machines, and the company increasingly viewed as a possible acquisition target. Former Spotify and Netflix CFO Barry McCarthy is going to be taking over as Peloton's CEO, and Foley will become executive chair. Here to weigh in on all of it is Gene Munster. He's Loop's founder and managing director. Gene, well, there was a lot of speculation, I think wrongly, frankly, over the last couple of days about a possible sale of this company ahead of this earnings report. Are you of the view that this changes that dynamic, that this is, again, a setup for a sale, or do you believe that Barry's coming in here to run it?
I think he's coming in to run it, and I had that same view. It's easy to speculate about a company being sold. It's much more difficult to actually get a deal done on a lot of levels. And I think that John Foley stepping down, Barry stepping up, I think changes the trajectory of the conversation. Understand why the stock is down today, because I think that the easy read on this is a deal's less likely. But my sense is that having Barry at the reins here stabilizes the leadership, and that changes the conversation when talking to Nike or Amazon or any other suitors, because instead of being a fire sale conversation, it comes down to a reasonable valuation conversation. And second is Barry's the right person to take this company over. Not only is he a CFO who understands costs, and that's one of the Achilles heels of the Peloton stories related to costs, but he also understands content, obviously with his background at Spotify and Netflix. And he understands how to raise prices. And so I think when you put this together, the company, despite what we're seeing in the pre-market here, I think it's actually in a better spot and stabilize the conversation. They do report tonight, so we're going to get more details on what the actual growth rate is going to look like. But from a first step, I'm impressed.
Gene, by the way, they did report. We're going to bring you those numbers in just a second. But the thing that I would ask about is what the role of John Foley is going to be going forward. Clearly, investors wanted him out. But from my read of this, he plans to continue to be very involved as the executive chair. One of the reasons that Barry, it appears, was selected was, frankly, because of how well he has worked with former or current even founders, Reed Hastings when he was at Netflix, Daniel Ek at Spotify. And I should also note, my understanding is that Barry is going to be moving from California to New York. So if anybody thinks his company is getting sold tomorrow or that he thinks he's coming to dress it up, most people don't move themselves if that is a short-term strategy.
Probably not. Yeah, I don't think he does move himself. And to your question, John Foley is still going to be a force inside this company. He is one of the largest shareholders. He has super voting rights, as do many tech founders. And so nothing is going to move around Peloton without his approval. But I do think that his sense, probably his legacy here, he still wants to shepherd that forward. And I think if you're going to just put the simple odds on this, odds are they remain a standalone company. Agree with you on Barry's move. I think it's more than window dressing around a negotiation. And at the core, this company has been punished, and they've made some significant mistakes. But I think that they also have a significant asset. They have about $1.5 billion in subscription revenue. The retention rate around that revenue is spectacular, 90% annual retention. If you're curious, gym memberships in the U.S. have a 50% annual retention. And so this company has a core asset. They've got a growth trajectory problem. They got an expense problem. But I think that this company can rebound and kind of put it to the final point here, at least in terms of what Barry needs to do, is get the costs under control. But he also needs to get innovation moving, because fitness by nature is a hit-driven. If we'd probably reminisce about the types of workouts we were doing 5-10 years ago, they're not the same things that we're doing today. And so I think for Peloton to be a leader long-term, they need to stabilize near-term, but long-term, they need to continue to create product innovation and new devices and new workouts that when you think about Peloton in the years to come, you may be thinking about a totally different workout. That is a real asset. That is, in my opinion, worth much more than $10 billion its current valuation.